How's it going, everyone? I know today is a pretty boring day, and I'm going to be honest, my talk is also quite boring. So today I'll be talking about how COVID-19 has highlighted social divisions in our society. First of all, I'll start by defining what a social division is. Social divisions refer to regular patterns of division in society that are associated with membership of particular social groupings, generally in terms of advantages and disadvantages, inequalities, and differences. The pre-COVID world can seem like a lifetime ago. We have become so used to wearing masks, hanging out in smaller groups, and generally just more reticent about physical contact with others. Yet, it was only in late January last year when we recorded our very first COVID-19 case here in Singapore. More than a year ago, when things got so bad, we implemented our circuit breaker. Still remember that? The truth is, COVID-19 has changed our world completely, perhaps even irrevocably altering how we live, how we work, how we learn, how we play. The list goes on. All around the world, the pandemic has exposed and exacerbated different social and economic divisions amongst people, making the rift between different communities of people even more obvious. While social divides in Singapore may thankfully not be as glaringly obvious as they are in countries like the US and India, it would be hubristic to imagine they do not exist. As sociologist Teo Yu Yen has noted in her book, "This is what inequality looks like," which draws on interviews and experiences with low-income Singaporeans within our seemingly affluent post-industrial state. Socioeconomic divisions nonetheless exist, separating us from each other. "This is what inequality looks like" was first published in 2018, before the outbreak of COVID-19. These divisions already existed before COVID-19, have only been made more obvious and grave, and solutions have had to be found and continue to need to be found urgently. The divide, which has been made more obvious by COVID-19, is the digital divide. When Singapore went through its 2-month-long circuit breaker to curb the spread of the virus, much of our communications had to go online. This move shone a spotlight on the gap between people of lower income, many of whom could not afford to purchase electronic devices like computers and laptops. There were also those who were not able to understand digital technology. This made day-to-day living during the circuit breaker very difficult, as everything was done online. From school to work to buying food, many people shifted online due to the need to avoid physical contact with others. Before COVID-19, the Singaporean government had already been trying to make the country more digital savvy. However, COVID-19 has really highlighted the importance of digitalization and ensuring equal access to technology and the know-how needed to navigate a digitalized world. Take India for instance. A study by Statista showed that as of 2015, 18% of the population of India owned a mobile phone. Because of the low number of mobile phone users, the Indian government found it difficult to directly communicate public health information to the public, where many large gatherings still continued to take place even at the height of the pandemic. Well, I know this because my grandfather cursed the Indian government. He absolutely hated it. Well, because Singapore has a high percentage of mobile phone users amongst its population, 82%, the government has been better able to communicate more easily and smoothly with the public, as compared to many other countries. The next step, of course, is to ensure everybody has equal access to technology needed to give them real-time information at critical times like this. However, mobile devices are definitely not cheap to families who struggle to put food on the table every day. And the gap between those who can afford digital devices and those who can't is another gap that has been highlighted by COVID-19. For the latter, it has been even more challenging getting the multiple devices needed at one time during the circuit breaker. An article in the Straits Times highlighted the struggles of an O-level student who did not have sufficient devices for her family. She struggled to do her schoolwork on a mobile phone, and her brother had loaned a laptop from school, and she was saving money to buy one. Although she could do her work on her phone, it would be too time-consuming to do so. Thankfully, the government was quick to put in place schemes to assist such students. With the IMDA, she managed to get a laptop for a subsidized price. More initiatives are needed from the government and also from the ground up for people to acquire the devices needed to navigate the modern world. Furthermore, we also need to ensure that those who are not born into the digital age, our senior citizens, get the skills they need to learn how to use digital technology. The last divide I will be speaking about is the skills divide that has become more obvious during the pandemic. We all have different skills, but the gulf between what white-collar workers earn and how their skills are regarded versus what blue-collar workers earn and how their skills are perceived to be less important has really been brought into sharper focus in this pandemic. Many blue-collar workers have been laid off and replaced by machinery to reduce human contact and to save money in the long run. Fewer white-collar workers were laid off, and those who were laid off were more able to cope with the digitalization of Singapore compared to blue-collar workers, who are less knowledgeable about technology. Blue-collar workers find it difficult to continue to upskill and stay relevant in their jobs. However, white-collar workers have more access to such resources. There have been various schemes by the government to help blue-collar workers looking to retrain, and the most notable one being SkillsFuture SG, which helps people upskill at the same time. If they are laid off from their jobs, SkillsFuture SG ensures that they are paid while taking courses supported by it. While COVID-19 has undoubtedly impacted all of us, the ones worst hit are those on the wrong side of the socio-economic divide. The pandemic has brought this divide into sharp relief, and if there is a positive to be drawn from this crisis, I hope that it will be for all of us to be more conscious of the need to narrow the divisions in our society. We have shown that we can be united in being socially responsible to curb the spread of the virus. We now enjoy close to 0 community cases and fewer restrictions because everyone worked together. Likewise, I'm sure if we work together, we can help make our society an equal one as well. Thank you.